Cinemassacre's Monster Madness.
You know this had to happen eventually. Yeah, for Monster Madness, we must honor one of the biggest monsters of all, the friend of all children, the brave, invincible, super monster guardian of the universe, Gamera! Ever since I did the GodzillaThon, I've been getting tons of requests to review the Gamera series. I'm glad I waited because since then, Shout Factory released them all on DVD. Before then, every DVD version of these movies were garbage. This is what they looked like before, and this is what they look like now, thanks to Shout Factory. Also, they've been restored back to their original Japanese cuts. These are the kind of movies that are meant to be watched, so you should see them on your own. Reviewing them's kind of difficult because all I can do is explain what I'm seeing. Flying turtle, spaceship, lasers, boom, boom, boom. I'll just sound like a lunatic, but so be it. Gamera was made by the film studio DC처럼. This was in the mid-60s when the Godzilla franchise was at its peak and all kinds of giant monsters were coming out of the woodwork. And in many ways, the Gamera series is a lot like the Godzilla series. Both series start in black and white, both monsters are awakened by a nuclear bomb, both monsters start as villains but become heroes, and both series were rebooted, bringing the monster back to a villain, but also a defender at the same time. For these reasons, Gamera has always been sort of in the shadow of Godzilla. It gives the impression that Gamera is the poor man's version, kind of like Transformers and GoBots. Nobody cared about GoBots. So let's give Gamera some love and respect. We're going to look at the 7 classic Gamera films from the original series. I'll lightly touch upon the reboots at the end, but we don't want to spend half the month on one monster. Anyway, the first film from 1965 was called Gamera the Giant Monster. The US version was Gamera the Invincible, spelled with 2 M's. Yet another strong similarity to Godzilla is that both US versions of these films were heavily re-edited and added American actors. Although when Gamera was released on VHS in the 80s, the US version was re-edited, this time cutting out all the American actors, any of the new footage, and this time being a lot closer to the Japanese cut. These VHS tapes were marketed towards kids.
Collect 6 of our Just for Kids videos.
And in the beginning of the tape, there's a really funny introduction with a kid who tells you how to adjust the tracking on your tape.
Hi, I'm Noel. You're going to love this Just for Kids video. If you're having a little trouble with the picture on the TV now, maybe you just need to adjust the tracking on your VCR. That's the little switcher button just at the bottom of your tape player. If you need help, just call Mom or Dad or Big Brother or Big Sister. They'll help you.
I don't mean to get off topic, so let's move on. The movie begins somewhere in an Arctic region with a plane being shot down. The plane was carrying some kind of nuclear bomb. When it explodes, it awakens Gamera, who had been hibernating in the ice. The movie offers very little explanation beyond that. We all know by now, nuclear bombs awaken giant monsters. Most movies would have spent a long time setting up the plot, but no. This one doesn't dick around. It introduces Gamera right away. In both the original Japanese version and original US version, once Gamera appears, that's when the credits start. But on the VHS version, the credits are moved to the beginning, and when Gamera comes out of the ice, there's no credits. This happened to be the first version I saw as a kid, so I thought this was really weird. Like, wow, they're really showing him off. Like, what the hell are we looking at? A grilled burger? So, Gamera goes around causing lots of destruction. The military tries to kill Gamera, but there's a kid named Toshio who won't have it. He loves Gamera. Why? To begin with, he just loves turtles, like the famous internet meme. But this kid is the original. He has a good reason, at least, because Gamera saved his life. But Gamera pretty much kills everybody else, so Toshio is just a selfish shithead. The military starts up Plan A to set off explosions that flips Gamera on his back. I guess the line of thinking is, once a turtle's on its back, it's fucked. Yeah, just like Toshio's mom. But they didn't stop and think, this is no ordinary turtle. What the fuck? Yeah, it's common knowledge now that Gamera is jet-powered, but imagine if you were watching the movie for the first time. It comes as a surprise. Right at the 40-minute mark, it's a unique twist. This is one of the things that sets it apart from Godzilla, that Godzilla makes a little more sense. I mean, it could never happen in real life, but Godzilla fits the traditional description of a fire-breathing dragon. It's a familiar, mythical concept, but Gamera is just so out there. It's a flying fucking turtle! Roger Ebert, in his review of the 1995 reboot, said it best when he observed that Gamera is not a mechanical creature and never needs to refuel, so we can assume the jet blasts come from byproducts of organic material. These are Roger Ebert's words, the king of movie critics, who said, yes, Gamera is powered by farts. Awesome. The rest of what happens is pretty standard for a monster movie. The defense agency holds a meeting to figure out what to do about Gamera. Meanwhile, the monster rampages through the city, which are some great effects scenes, on par with many of the monster films of the time. Finally, the grand plan goes into effect, which I find to be an absolutely hilarious way to stop the monster. They launch him into space. In fact, they send him to Mars. That's pretty original. You don't always have to kill the monster. Just get rid of him. Make him somebody else's problem. If there's Martians living there, they're in for a surprise. Well, Gamera's debut film may be a little typical, but for a movie of this genre, it's very competent and well made. It would have been more groundbreaking had it not been following in the mighty footsteps of Godzilla. But in its own right, it's a great example of the genre.